Welcome back to part three, making yourself at home on your Mac. Again, this is a lot of stuff to do in system preferences. This next one is one of my personal favorites, Mission Control. If you're like me and you have a lot of different things going on at one time, this will make your life so much easier instead of digging through Windows on your desktop, kind of like digging through stuff on your desk, your for real desk. So again, I got system preferences from the Apple, and here we go, Mission Control. So much cool stuff you can do in here, and the possibilities are virtually endless. So this deals with a couple of different things. It deals with something called spaces, which if you're not familiar with, it'll change how you deal with your Mac, um, and also will help you kind of get around. So let's take a look at this. What spaces are is on a Mac you can have literally several workspaces, several desktops, if you will, and you can have. And I'm gonna kind of zip through these and show you how you get to these. But to start with the keyboard and mouse shortcuts, you can kind of set these up. Right now, Mission Control. Mission Control is how you get to see all your spaces. So right now it's got this little um, up character with the up arrow. If I hold down the Control button and hit that up arrow, now I'm looking at spaces. And you can see I have the dashboard, and then I have literally have right now 4 different desktops going on, and I can choose any different one just by clicking on it. I'm not going to do that just yet, but I'll show you how you can get to those, and I can also make them go away. You notice when I moused over the X, so if I'm done with a desktop, I can zap it and make it go away. Right now I'm just going to release that, or you can always hit escape and that'll get you back to where you were. The escape key is great also. So that will kind of help you with that. The other option down here then is application window. So again, control down, and it just shows I just have this one application going in here. If I had more, you'd see more, and I'll show you that later. Um, so So the way this is set up, it'll constantly rearrange those spaces, the order that they show up, based on which ones you're using most recently. So if I were to go, for example, and jump over to my iTunes, that opens up. Now you notice if I go again to look at my spaces, and I go to that one, they're showing up here, and I'll hit escape and get back to them. I want to get back to this guy right now. uh, It'll group them by application, different spaces. I can set how these different things work. Like right now I have F11. This is where it defaults. I can hit function F11, and you'll notice now everything flew out of the way and I can see my desktop. Maybe I need to open a file on my desktop. Hit escape, and it comes back. Show the dashboard, F12. There I am with that. Hit escape. I come back. So I can change those, and you can see there's additional choices. You can shift control, so you can kind of just play around. If I hit right shift now, it goes to mission control. And escape back. There's kind of infinite numbers of options because you can pair them with different keys. And how that works, now if I hit option, now you notice all of these show up with the option symbol. I let go of that and go command. Now they'll all show up there. One thing that's kind of interesting, you'll notice, let's say I do this to option F1. And then I go down here and I do option F1. Notice the exclamation point, the warning. It's telling me that things aren't going to work right because I have more than one thing set up. So you can kind of play around with that. I'm going to put them back to the defaults right there. Before I showed you hot corners with the screensaver. This is how I use hot corners for my mission control. So I have them set up so I can do mission control, launchpad, desktop, or application windows is typically how I have it. So if I go up here, now I have mission control. If I shift and go down here, oops, then I get the desktop. If I go over here, I get Launchpad, which we'll get into in another tutorial. If you use an iPhone or an iPad, you'll love using Launchpad on your Mac. And lastly, application windows. If I had more than one application open here, it would show me all the applications. So another thing that's helpful is if you remember Command Tab, all the applications show up, and you have two options here. I can use the arrow. Right now I'm using the arrow, or I can tab through them. And now I have those other spaces going. So if I'm here, System Preferences, and I want to get to work in iTunes, boom, it takes me to that space. If I want to get back to Pages, boom, I go there. I'm using Option, Tab, iTunes, boom, there. Notice each time I go to one, as it said before, it rearranges them to whichever one I was in last. So I can just pop around through those. There's another really cool way, and here's another thing with this Command Tab just scrolls to the right and goes through. If I got a lot open and I don't want to go all the way over there, if I Command Shift Tab, it goes back the other way. Very helpful. Let's get back to my system preferences. So that's how I use the hot corners. I really like it. Some people hate it. It can be very, very helpful if you've got a lot of different things on your desktop to be able to get to the desktop and get to other places. So play around with Mission Control. It really is kind of cool, and it can help you a lot in customizing your workspace so you can have several different things going on at the same time and have a nice clean place to work with each thing and not have too much clutter on your desktop. So I love Mission Control. Let me know if you have questions. See you next time. Here's an addendum that I just discovered actually for Mission Control that is very cool. So I love doing this. I'm constantly finding new ways to do things. I showed you the hot corners. For example, upper left hand corner, I have it set, and that shows me all the different, remember I said if you have a lot of applications open, you can see them all and flip between them. So that's that. Lower left hand corner is cool. I have set up so if I need to get to something on my desktop, it just whips everything right out of the way. Upper left hand corner, I showed you I set to go to Launchpad to launch different apps. And again, escape gets you out of that. So I have Pages open. Here's something I discovered with the Applications option. I have that in the lower right hand corner. Watch what happens. I'm in Pages. I go here. Boom. All my recent documents that I've worked on in Pages are down here. It helps. I can quickly, easily get to another document within that application. So that's a cool little feature I actually just discovered myself. So and as you do this, you may discover something kind of cool that I didn't cover. Share it. Let me know about it. Thank you. Have a good day. See you next time.